I do have a new router. So I got a new NBN live stream router. I got it yesterday. The last thing you ever think when you're buying new technology, when you're upgrading, is that it'll malfunction. So that's what happened. This is part 2 of my first live stream, Mbilli versus Lester. You know, we'll see if it heats up. We had about 50 people on the first one. I know you guys are busy, so if you guys are tapping in, if you guys catch this, thank you. If you guys have questions about my picks, let me know. I'm going to leave it on for a few minutes. If it heats up, I'll leave it on. If not, I don't, no shade. I understand why. Robert Floss, let's go. It's bud time. All right, Robert Floss, my guy. Yeah, so we're getting close, Robert. Are you in Vegas already, mate? Robert, if you are in Vegas, are you going to the fights at the Fontainebleau? I was asking the boys on the first live stream about the Beck Nurmagomedov fight. So there's a fighter who's ranked I think he's ranked 17 in the world. He's an Uzbek fighter at 168 pounds. His name's Beck Nurmagomedov. He's fighting a guy in Steven Sumter who I think he's 11-1 with 9 knockouts. That's a fun fight, guys. Fontainebleau. If I was in Vegas, I'm pretty sure, isn't the Fontainebleau the little room in the Cosmo? If I remember correctly, I used to work in Las Vegas, right on Las Vegas Boulevard. I bartended at Planet Hollywood at a fine dining steakhouse called the Strip House. Wednesday, I'm going to watch the open workhouse. All right, cool, man. So how about you do this for me then, mate? When you're there Wednesday, and Robert's you're in our Discord, let me know. Either message me on Insta or message me in the Discord. What do you think? I want to know what Bohacek looks like. I want to know how he's carrying himself. I know you're there obviously for Bud, but it's one of these things because in my breakdown video of Bohacek versus Adams, I have some questions. Okay, so Fontainebleau's its own hotel. Yeah, I'm an old head. I left Vegas in 2013, so I don't think it was there. DJ, why are you back? We was talking about Nelson and Santana. Okay, I know Manny Robles. Yeah, didn't you? Yeah, Robert, I've seen you, your comments. Used to spar, used to train. Manny Robles, great guy. What is that, East Los Angeles Boxing Club? Is that what it's called now? Doesn't he get some of the Japanese fighters in there too? I could be wrong if I remember correctly. DJ, so yeah, Steven Nelson, Raiko Santana, guys. What do you guys think about that? Let's look at the odds real quick. I think off jump, man, when I was looking at these odds, it's always fun to pick upset alert fights. That was the one I kind of had highlighted in terms of could there be an upset, and what I'm talking about is odds. The video quality is a bit fuzzy on your end. So am I coming clear? If it's a bit fuzzy, it's because I'm streaming on my mobile data. If it's fuzzy, let me know. I'll switch over to my MBN. Is it clear or fuzzy, boys? Let me know, because it's looking clear on my end. We're having some technical issues, man. This shit's frustrating. Okay, so Santana's a 345. Santana's a 345 on the money line. Nelson's a 136. It's fuzzy. All right, give me a second then. Talk about frustration. Sorry about that. Let me know if it clears up. Christian Medina for the upset on the Anyway card. It's cool. I'll ask Robles how Bohacek looks. He's a real dude. I'll watch the workouts as well. Trainer of Adams, Trevor Sembrano, Tommy Adams. Camp was great. Yeah, I've been following Brandon Adams on his Instagram. He looks like in shape. All right, it's clear. So I switched over to MBN. The reason why I had it on mobile is because my MBN crashed. Hopefully, we're all good, man. I've been live streaming for 6 months, never had any issues. I upgraded my technology, and then I have issues. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like back in the day, our fathers, if you're old as me, our dads would work on their cars in the garage. They could replace everything under the hood, pop the hood. You could, replace the engine if you wanted to, replace some belts, add little trinkets. Now with cars and engines, it's all digitized and, electronic. You can't do that. We've become handcuffed by technology, and I feel this is an example. I upgrade my technology, and we're having some issues. So, all right, so let's talk about Medina for the upset. So I think Steven Nelson should be on upset alert. Man, Ivan Ditchko versus Franklin is a good fight. I think Boacek should be on upset alert. Obviously, because the odds, Lester Martinez the underdog, you could say Mbilli's on upset alert. Bud Crawford's the underdog, you could say Canelo's on upset alert. And Yoshiki Takai, I talked about this. Yeah, I think Yoshiki Takai should be on upset alert too. Medina's a dog. That's a fun fight. Guys, there's a lot of fun fights. DJ Green says, I got Jermaine beating Ditchko. Yeah, Jermaine's... Dude, this is going to be a fun week. Boys, this is either going to be a fun weekend or a stress... Look, we're going to stress out regardless. You know what I'm saying? I was gone this past weekend stressing out watching the results. I was getting... Like, I would hit this past weekend, and then I'd lose. And then, like, my college football, you know, of the last... You know, the first 2 weeks, I'm 18 out of 20. We lost the last pick. The money line parlay, without thinking too much of it, you know, we lost a pick. It wasn't until the last fight, Sugar Nunez going the distance, we won all of our money back. Like, it's gonna be a fun, stressful weekend, boys. Christian Medina, 7-12, head into the beach. I'll hit you up. Have fun, Robert. Be good, man. Safe travels to Vegas. EV44, don't know much about Santana, but he lost to Lester, which shares camp. Yeah, Evie, watch the Lester Santana fight. There's an argument that Reiko beat Lester Martinez, just so you know. I mean, I put the fight up in the Discord, 44 ounce. You watch Reiko versus Lester, tell me how you scored it. I gave that fight to Santana. I got to be honest with you. I thought they gave Lester a gift. I favor Nelson. I just don't. I think Steven Nelson, man. I don't know, bro. Assad, Mark Dixon messed up my parlay. Jamorne Ortiz also not fighting. Yeah. No, Ortiz fought a guy on late replacement, didn't he? That was a couple weeks ago, right? Robert, September 13th, going to be a nightmare for Canelo fans. Legacies are on the line, boys. Legacies are on the line. Mark Dickinson sold hard. I think Truck beat Santana. Yeah, you know, Truck just fought 2 days ago. No one was talking about it. This is how messed up our sport is, boys. This is how brutal boxing is. You have a prospect like Truck Simpson. We know, still pretty young. Nice little southpaw. We know he just lost to Jahai Tucker. I featured that fight. We made money on Jahai. And all of a sudden, Truck gets a fight. We didn't even know he fought. Truck fought 2 days ago. Did you guys know that? I think he fought in Mexico. So, yeah, I'd have to rewatch the Truck Simpson fight against Santana to give you a proper sort of feedback on that. But we got Princess Alascuaga fighting. One of my, he's a smaller fighter, Anthony Alascuaga. You just asked about it. Jen says, have you looked at Alascuaga decision this Thursday? Yeah, Alascuaga, he's a fun little fighter. He's fighting Camacho Rivera. Guys, that fight's not a 5-1. That fight's not a 5-1 fight. Alascuaga's a huge favorite here. Will the fight go the distance? Are we getting options? Yes. I mean, they're thinking it's a knockout with both styles. They think either Alascuaga or Camacho is going to win by knockout. But, I mean, it's worth the sprinkle. Everybody thought that two of my biggest prop bets over the last few weeks in terms of odds, getting it right, was Shushu Carrington at plus 600 winning a decision, was Mick Conlon recently this past weekend to win by knockout. We hit that. I think I got plus 400. And then just 2 days ago, Sugar Nunez by decision plus 800. So when I see Alascuaga versus Camacho to go the distance, will the fight go the distance? I'm getting plus 285. I mean, I like that. They're not, they both could crack. They're both smaller guys. We'll see. I have to sit with it a bit more. Boxing fan, I just seen tape on Crawford get the controversial no drop call. Yeah. Boxing fan, you're referring to he got wobbled a couple times. You're referring to the Mean Machine fight, right? But he got caught against the big hitting Cuban. I always forget his name. If that's who you're referring to. Boxing fan, I just seen tape on Bud get controversial no drop call in the past. Never knew that. Yeah. No, he's been wobbled before. Anyway, by decision. I like that. Julius in the house. Callum Walsh finna destroy. Julius, how old are you, man? I know Julius he's a Johnny Says insider. He's in our Discord. Just me reading the word FINNA reminds me of being a kid. That was a word that we used in Youngstown, Ohio in the 90s. I haven't heard anybody, are people still using the word finna? It just makes me, it sounds funny reading it and then saying it out loud. Callum Walsh finna destroy Farkas Jr. But I'm not laughing at you, man. I'm laughing at my childhood. I think it was 1990. I was 8 years old. I was going to St. Anthony's, a Catholic school in Youngstown. And that's for the first time I heard that word. I think we used to just say, I'm Finn. We didn't say finna. We would say, I think, I remember my dad yelled at me, Johnny, what word are you saying? I was like, Pops, man, I'm finna go play basketball. Like, you know, I'm finna eat. But I never heard anyone say, I'm finna. Is that a new little touch on it? A little A on the end? Yeah, I like the distance. Indeed. Gamboa. Yeah. Well, Gamboa cracked him, but also Mean Machine. Gamboa had Bud in some waters, though. See, but this is the thing, Joseph and DJ, where I talk about. And this is why I like Mbilli to beat Lester. When I see a guy get cracked, when I see a guy overcome adversity, when I see a guy who has to back up, who generally, especially with Mbilli, who generally likes coming forward, when I see a guy get stunned and has to back up and punch their way out of adversity and still win the fight, that's I think to me, I put more credibility on that than I do the fighter, fill in the blank, Bud and Billy getting stunned. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what would you do next? Did you get stunned and did you come back? What'd you do next? And in both cases, we know what Bud did, closing the show, and against Gamboa. And we know Mbilli fought through it and won a wide unanimous decision against Carlos. Canelo also been wobbled before. DJ, I got to be honest with you, DJ. The only time I really remember Canelo being wobbled was against Cotto, right? Or you know what? Did Danny wobble him? Did Jacobs wobble him? I remember Canelo early days catching Canelo, or I remember Cotto early days catching Canelo flush. Is Patty a lock? I don't think so. People are saying Patty Donovan's a lock. I mean, he should be. I don't like using the word lock. I'll get. It's a weird fight for me, the Patty fight, especially how it ended. But you know, Patty was dominating and then got DQ'd. There's some Irish boys on YouTube saying that he's gonna lose. We'll see what happens. Let me do my own tape. People still okay. People still say so. That word's timeless. Then we're going on over 40 years. Then maybe you know what it is, DJ. They don't. Nobody in Sydney uses it. I guess just reading it and saying it is nostalgic to me, because I used to say it, and I just haven't heard anybody say it in forever. Then again, I live in Australia. Cap Quest. He knows a girl named Fidna. Weight doesn't win fights. Boxing fan. Bud 2 classes up though, dude. Yeah, Bud's not 2 classes up. Boxing fan. Guys, I don't put Bud Crawford. I was talking to Chilltown about this. I don't look at Bud Crawford as a junior middleweight, by the way. I look at Bud Crawford as a welterweight. So in my eyes, Bud is 3 weight classes up. Bud went up from. I look at Bud as a 47. So if Bud's a 47 in my eyes, he's got. He fought once at 54 against Madrimov. One fight at 54. I don't call him a junior middleweight, right? He never fought at middle, and now he's fighting at super middle, 168. So, yeah, it was Cotto for sure. And that was early days, too. Koki in the house. Callum Walsh is very overrated. I'm not going to say I disagree with you, mate. I'm not sold on Callum Walsh. He got knocked down 5 times against Ishmael. All right, so isn't Villarreal the same guy that Brandon Adams knocked out? Callum just hyped up because he's with Dana. Yeah. Is Ishmael Villarreal the guy who was 13-0 going into the Brandon Adams fight, and Brandon Adams stopped him? Maybe Villarreal was 13-2. If this is the same guy, Villarreal, because I was reasoning with how I could see Adams beating Boachuk. Obviously, we know Adams beat him once already. I think, I mean, depending on how close the fight you had it, Katsarakis is a tough out for anybody at 54. And Adams stopped Villarreal because people were trying to do the boxing maths. What's the resume look like, sort of thing. Canelo money line is a lock of the week. Julius, DJ Patty should win. I think he should win. Put your money on Adams. I'm kind of leaning on Brandon, mate. I saw, I saw Brandon follow his Instagram. He's looking in shape. I don't trust Boacek these days, boys. I don't trust his durability. I don't like how, obviously, we know what he looked like against Michael. Now, was that performance against Michael Fox a sign of things to come? I've been saying it all week and last week. I think Boacek has slowed down. I think that Virgil fight and his fight style throughout his career, all the rounds he spars, you look at his eyes, they're glossy all the time. You watch him speak. Granted, English isn't his first language. I think Boacek has a stutter. Go to his Instagram, watch the interviews. I think he's developing a sort of tick. I don't know, man. And you mix that with Adams, the psychological one-up. He stopped him before. I think Adams is, a little... We'll see. I think Adams is a very live dog. Money Meach in the house. Patty for the win. He was he was winning every round. True. Boxing fan. Canelo wobbled by a 2-weight class lower fighter. Don't sound right. Yeah. Yeah, but this is boxing fan. This is why this fight's so intriguing, boys, is because, like, we could talk about Bud's getting wobbled a decade ago. We could talk about Canelo getting wobbled 15 years ago. These guys are two different fighters. What we have to do when we're thinking about who's winning is talk about the 37-year-old and the 35-year-old. Canelo's either 34, 35. Bud will be 38 in November, I'm pretty sure. Those are the guys we have to talk about because those are the guys who are fighting. They're not bringing that energy with them. They're bringing their legacy with them. It's going to be interesting, this version. Canelo at his best versus Bud at his best, they're not ever fighting. You know what I'm saying? I think Bud at his best, you either put him, it's either at 40 or 47. Canelo at his best, he's an undersized 68, maybe 60. So both of those guys at their best, they're not fighting each other. Neither guy is at their best. Don't get it twisted, Bud fan. I'm a Bud fan. Bud's not in his prime anymore. Crawford's not at his peak. You could see his hand speed. His hand speed's not what it used to be. He gets hit a little. He's always kind of got hit. His head movement's always been good, not great. We saw that against Madrimov. Neither guy is, they're old. We get old, boys. It's not shocking. It's not hating to say, hey, neither guy's in their prime. So it's something you got to think about. Who has more left in the tank? Who has more of that magic left? But guys, all you have to do is be great for one night. We've seen Bud be great his entire career. We've seen Canelo win close fights that could have gone either way. I thought Canelo lost to Triple G. Rewatch the Lara fight. That was a close fight. We've seen Canelo lose on paper, obviously to Floyd and Bivol. We never seen Bud lose. Keep that in mind. So there's, 168, yeah, sure. It's tough for me to get past the 21 pounds as well. The 21 pounds is really tough for me to get past. It's making it really, really hard for me to give you my prediction because it's really hard for me to get past the 21 pounds. That's insane. 21 pounds is insane. In Houston, I hear that word every day. H-Town. Somebody rockin', knocking the boots. People sleep on H. Here's a little fun fact for you. So there's an R&B group from the 90s, one of my favorite R&B groups from Houston called H-Town. Knocking the boots. A bunch of other songs. Joe Rogan's wife, his wife right now, I don't know her name. She was married to the lead singer of H-Town. I think he died tragically young. I don't know if it was a sickness, might have been in an accident. And they had a kid. And so Rogan's oldest daughter, she's light-skinned. Rogan's oldest daughter, her dad was the lead singer in H-Town. A little fun fact for that ass. You got Franklin over Dichko. Ooh, close fight. I don't know yet. Gamboa got too cocky. He could have beaten Crawford, fought dumb. Yeah, fight IQ. People forget, though, man. Yuriakis Gamboa was a motherfucker. People forget, dude. People try to, do this, revisionist history on Bud's resume. Guys, the version Bud fought of Gamboa was a tank. Nobody was, Look what Gamboa was doing, both in the Amis and both, as a pro up until he ran into Bud. Vargas Jr. just living off of his dad. This is Fernando, not Emiliano. True, but this is also Callum Walsh, not Callum Simpson. Villarreal lost to Adams. Yeah, Villarreal got stopped against Adams the first time he got stopped. Kiza, Bud said before Canelo is too big and he wouldn't go past 54. Only reason. I disagree, Kiza. Watch Bud's interview with Joe Rogan after he stopped Errol Spence Jr. He was on there for about 2.5 hours. He spoke about wanting to fight Canelo in July of 2023. And that was kind of before Turkey was even involved. Turkey hadn't really... When Bud fought EJ, Turkey really wasn't doing anything significant, was he? Villarreal was my sparring partner. That's amazing. Villarreal's a dog. Good boxer. 3 classes up, not wobbling Canelo. Boxing fans, see? It's tough, boys. Remember, but bet with your wallet, not with your heart, boys. He was 13-2. Adams, very dangerous. Serhi was beating Adams handily until he got knocked out. Adu, you taking any action on Patty Crocker undercard? Oh, yes, Adu. Oh, yes. And you know this, man. Julius, Serhi, moneyline. Damn. Vargas Jr. isn't great, but good enough to UD Walsh. Pedro Cabrales, Walsh by decision is very safe. Look, man, the chat is torn. Guys, we're going to be torn all week. I'm reading these comments. 1 Vargas, 1 Walsh, 1 Canelo, 1 Bud, 1 Boacek, 1 Adams. Guys, it's insane. I want everybody keeping it copacetic this week in the Discord. I want everybody remaining a gentleman in the Discord. Because sometimes when we have fights like this is a fight card that is broken through the ethos of just boxing fans. This is mainstream. This is being streamed live on Netflix. Whenever this happens, guys, we're going to have to deal with a lot of casuals, both on your personal Facebooks, your personal Instagrams. You're going to be seeing, in your day-to-day work, deal with the casuals how we always deal with the casuals. Don't pay them no mind. I'm trying to catch up to these comments. You guys are, super chats. How about you super chat me $1 and I could read some of these comments. Julius, Fernando Vargas is a construction worker. History Vault, Adams could be a fighter Boacek can't beat. Could be. Adu, can you see a knockdown in Canelo versus Bud? That's tough to see. I've never seen either one dropped. Deech go by knockout. Nice little pig. Muscles in the house. I'm starting to entertain Canelo money line. Muscle Brown, once we remove... Muscles in the house, boys. Once we remove our loyalty, and once we start listening to that entrepreneur mind that says, hey, Muscles, your wallet, bet with your bankroll, not your heart. We got to remind ourselves going into the weekend. Go heavy on Canelo money line. Julius, I mean, you got a high strike. You got a high a strike rate, mate. You're pretty spot on a lot of your bets. Pedro Canelo is shot. Crawford is old. I think that's a bit rude to say, that the word shot. Canelo's showing signs of slowing down. Of course. Crawford is old. Yes. Bro, off topic, but what do you think about the Bills versus Ravens? Everything by John. I hit everything by John. If you remember in our Discord, I took the Bills on the money line, and Josh Allen and Lamar both to score touchdowns. We hit 11-1. And you gotta do that one. That one when you hit that 11-1. Walsh is very hittable and doesn't utilize his gifts. He's being pushed because of Dana. True. Walsh shouldn't be a heavy favorite. Are we picking Deech? Go. We'll see. Money Mooch. Canelo money line 165 is wild to me. Money Meech. What do you think it should be then? Ishmael knocked down Walsh 5 times off 3 to 4 week training camp. Villarreal. Guys, we also have that undercard in England is good too. We got Ishmael Davis fighting on that undercard. Canelo don't knock people out no more. 2021, he knocked Caleb Plant out almost 5 years ago. I think it was November of 2021 when he knocked Caleb Plant out. This fight's in September of... going on 4 years, boys. Gamboa, Lopez were hella hype back then until their chins got tested. I mean, wasn't Bud the first guy to stop Gamboa? Boxing fan, for Bud and Canelo, is class difference the largest gap? For Bud and Canelo, is class difference the largest gap in either fighter's careers? Weight class? The largest gap? Yeah. is class difference? Maybe I'm missing a word there, boxing fan. DJ Green. Kiza. If Canelo can fight Triple G 3 times and not get rocked, Crawford not hurt. No. Yeah, Canelo has that. I always talk about it, boys, in boxing. A really underrated element of, a world-class fighter's game is actually the neck. You know what I mean? Canelo's neck is like that. Canelo, that matter, being able to just get shot. And he does. You know something about Canelo, too, that I haven't heard anyone speak about is how often do we see Canelo get punched when he's out of position? How often do we see Canelo get punched when he doesn't see the punch coming? Those are generally the punches that hurt the most, that do the most damage. When guys put themselves out of position by over-punching and then they get countered, or when they get out-angled, out-maneuvered, and then they get hit with something they don't see. You don't see that a lot. You don't see that a lot with Canelo. I mean, have we seen that? Will Bud be able to do that? Tape study this week is key, 100%. Joseph P., you picking Canelo? Oh, boys, it's tough. Joseph P., it's tough. Look, I have to give you my most ethical prediction. This is how I roll. This is not a fanboy station. You know that. This is not a channel where I'm giving you emotional picks. It is really, 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 really hard for me to bet against Bud because I've been a fan of him his whole career. It's also really, really hard for me to see Canelo losing because of the weight gap. That's all I'm going to say. Dude, how could you bet against Bud? You know what I mean? I mean, he ticks all the boxes for me. My favorite thing about Bud Crawford is the chip he carries around with him all the time, man. That he has a little bit of Marvin Hagler to him with that sort of just meanness, man. You don't see that in this era of fighters, man. That was something I always liked about him, even when Top Rank was trying to shelf him. And, he couldn't get big fights, and he kept fighting in Nebraska. And, he goes over to the UK to fight Ricky Burns and take his belt at 35. And, he just, you watch him give interviews, just mean. I like that. Those are the guys I like. It's really, and I want to be, watch this fight super, I want to be entertained by the fight. I don't want to be stressed out. So from an entertainment perspective, I'm going to watch the fight cheering for Bud. I'm cheering for Crawford to beat Canelo. But the question is, am I betting on him to beat Canelo? Those are two different things. DJ, I actually like a draw for that fight. Dana's friends with Turkey. I see him trying to do some wild shit. Adu, this chat going full bipolar every fight on. I know, Adu. Adu, what are we going to do? All right. I'm comfortable. Even the Mbilli versus Lester fight, I'm comfortable with Mbilli. If you would have told me, Johnny, what fight on the card are you most comfortable with? If this would have been even 3 weeks ago. Because 3 weeks ago, I was picking Lester. But after I did film study, I flip-flopped. Now I'm sitting there saying, I think Mbilli is my lock of all of them. If I had to say Mbilli versus Lester, Serhi versus Adams, Bud versus Canelo, throw in Steven Nelson versus Santana, throw in Callum Walsh versus Vargas, who's your lock? Who's your lock? EV 44 ounce says, been watching tape on Bud, and he usually dominates when he strikes second with that counter. Yep. Who would be the counter puncher September 13th? It is tough for me to... Guys, we can't forget about Canelo's lead hook. That lead hook, boy. Stop! That lead hook. And the thing about Canelo's lead hook that we should mention is, some orthodox fighters, they tell. You see a tell with their lead hook, with their lead foot. The foot will kind of turn in when they either throw the hook or when they're setting it up. There's a bit of a foot feint. Watch how Canelo throws his lead hook. He keeps both shoulders facing his opponent, and his front foot doesn't turn in. He throws the lead hook, doesn't even move that front foot. Boom. He has this, it kind of, at least when I was coming up in the boxing ring, it's not how I was taught. I was always taught to sit down on my lead hook and spin the front foot. My boxing coach would say, killing an ant. This is your lead hook. This is your lead foot. Like smearing an ant or putting out the butt of a cigarette. You know, boom. And over time, if this is how you throw the lead hook, this is how a lot of guys I trained with were taught. You could pick up on a tell when they're trying to find it. Their front foot starts to twitch a bit. Canelo doesn't have a tell, and his lead hook is, you know, one of the best in the game when it's at its best. There's no tell on it. There's no fat on it. He hides it really well. Woo, doggy. We'll see. That lead hook, boy. Don't sleep. I feel exactly like Johnny regarding the Clifton Dennis in the house. Gary live. I think he texted you to join live. Did he text me? Okay. Let me. I'm going to bet on the draw and fight go the distance. Lester reminds me of Triple G. Steven Nelson. Gary's live. Let me go check this out because I'm 30 minutes in. Let's go over parlay so everybody can win some money. But you said you need to trust your first instinct. Remember Tim Zoo? Yeah, dude. Yeah, you changed and I was wrong. Guys. But there's also proof and evidence of me changing and I was right. Let's go over all the fights one at a time. Put up a poll so people can decide. PJ, you're a wild man. Guys, I'm gonna shut this down. I'm already over an hour on both live streams. I'm going to text Gary. I got to upload Bocheck versus Adams. Like this video. I'm going live again with Chilltown Boxing today. I'm uploading my breakdown of Bocheck versus Adams today. If you haven't checked Lester versus Mbilli, check it out. We got a big